Hello, everyone. Before we begin, we just wanted to note that in this episode, we do mention some heavier topics such as depression, suicide, and the feeling of isolation that some people may find upsetting. If you want to avoid this content, skip the second half of the episode. The exact times are given in the show notes. Thanks, and enjoy the episode.
Expectations. I'm Tom Wilson Kennedy, joined by Matt Wilson Carvalho, Chris Wilson Palumbo, and Dan Wilson Lozier. Boys,
I see what you did there.
I get it.
It's been a while. Been a while since we had a chat. You anyone any nice pickups?
Yeah, I back-to-back Friday afternoon pickups at Cops again. Shout out to Cops Records, my favorite record.
Stop shouting at Cops.
They better be. Are they paying you?
Guys over
They're
there.
paying.
I was gonna say, Cops needs to start sending some money our way.
Are you wearing a Cops T-shirt? Is that what you got on there?
I got the Cops logo tattooed on my butt.
Did Chris Price do that for you?
What records did you pick up from that store?
I hadn't been record collecting for a few months, so I had to go back. I got a bunch of new jazz records, a couple more Oscar Peterson records. I love Oscar Peterson. Another Wes Montgomery album, which I've been looking for, California Dreamin'. A couple others sprinkled in there. But I went again today because it's my friend's birthday party next weekend. And he'd been asking me to keep an eye out for a Van Morrison record. And so
Spoiler alert.
Well, I mean, he's going to listen to this episode after his birthday party.
I mean, he's probably not going to listen to it. So.
Yeah.
No, he's one of our fans.
He's a shout him out. What's his name?
Yeah, he's Frank. Shout out to Frankie. Happy birthday, Frankie.
Happy birthday,
Frankie.
Happy birthday, Frankie.
So yeah, it started off with me just finding one Van Morrison record, and I had to buy myself a gift too. So ended up finding John Prine's debut album.
So jealous of that.
Big pickup. Such a hard record to find. And then I found a couple Miles Davis albums that I'd been looking for too that were really cheap. So yeah.
Do you like Miles Davis?
A big Miles Davis guy. I'm a big Beatles guy.
Since when?
I never had Rubber Soul and Revolver in my closet.
I could not believe that.
I couldn't believe that
I was
either.
like, why are you buying doubles?
Yeah.
The problem
what were the
with those
prices
albums
of those?
is they're so expensive.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
So Cops in at least I know that they have it in two other locations. They always have a big bin full of vintage Beatles records, and it's usually like 35 plus for both of those albums.
Mm-hmm.
And I found they're both Capitol Records pressings, so Canadian U.S. pressings.
Yeah.
But Rubber Soul is a mono copy.
Oh, that's
Revolver's in really good condition. At least the sleeves are in really good condition. The albums themselves are obviously heavily played, but I got them for both $20. So I felt
okay,
sweet.
Yeah, that's not bad.
This is the price I've wanted to pay for these two albums.
Yeah,
it really rounds out my Beatles collection. So I just went and bit the bullet and bought them. So
nice, good for
really
you, man.
ties the room together.
Yeah,
nice.
Really does.
Really ties the room. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Matt, I mean, you have new pickups every day, so just give us.
But there's a box behind him full of records he hasn't even opened yet.
Just give us today's.
He's working on the Library of Congress discography for his own house.
Just give us a short list, Matty.
All right, so I'm not even going to name off titles. I'll just name off the band names: Red Hot Chili Peppers, White Stripes, Lana Del Rey, Foo Fighters, Mumford & Sons, Metric, Madonna, Miles Davis, John Mayer, Tom Petty, Kendrick Lamar, Vampire Weekend. I even picked up a record for my wife.
Hasn't been that long since we've spoken.
This is all yesterday.
Hasn't
We got
been
these
that
all
long
yesterday.
since we've spoken.
Yo, that Vampire Weekend album, I want that.
So good.
I want that.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Actually, we both picked up sketches from Spain.
Same week, yeah.
Such a great album. I love that Miles album.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
Was there? Sorry, I interrupted you, Matt. Was there?
Oh, no,
more?
it's all good. So I was saying I picked up something for my wife as well. I picked her up a Britney Spears record. And did I mention Tom Petty already?
Yeah,
Okay. Then, yeah, that's basically
big
it.
fan.
I mean, you basically
Yeah.
just named
Me too.
you
I
basically
love
just
Tom
named every
Petty.
band of all times.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Going a shout out to last week when we were talking about Play It Loud. One of the craziest experience I ever had was listening to Tom Petty's sound check, and it was at Bonnaroo,
Wow.
and we were lying in the
that's cool.
and we were lying in the tent, probably like 2 or 3K away from the actual stage. But because of the area and the way it was, you could hear his sound check in the morning.
That's amazing.
And you were
Nice.
just like lying in this tent in Tennessee, and you could just hear Tom Petty playing and warming up, and like you could hear him having conversations with like the guys. Don't turn up the volume, or turn on this. No, I don't like the way that amp sounds. Move this. It was like
That's really cool.
waking up hungover to that was like, this is like next level. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Right
mad
on.
respect for Tom Petty in that.
Okay, I want to tell you
Yeah, I
guys
was
a
gonna
story.
say-
Oh, sorry, Matt. You go.
I was just going to say, Chris, kind of a throwback to that last episode we did, the Play It Loud. I almost picked a different record for that one.
Was it a Tom Petty record?
No. But it was one of the ones that I picked up off of this recent pickup.
Oh, so you would have picked it if you had owned it.
It would have been highly debatable for sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Interesting.
so
I probably would have liked it.
It was like a 1A and 1B.
that was a little damn.
Okay.
What
that
is
was a
it?
little jab.
Yeah,
there
you have to
from
tell
Dan.
us now.
You got
Okay.
no.
Okay. So Red Hot Chili Peppers, Californication.
That's great.
Really?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that a
The-
big
the way
play
that-
it loud though?
No, that's a
To me, it is.
That's
Yeah.
It starts off with Around the World. That's like
It is.
as
Oh,
soon as
yeah.
that
Oh,
comes
that's
on,
huge.
Huge
that
bass
you
line.
gotta crank
Loud,
that up.
yeah.
Even
Yeah.
I find even like the more mellow songs on that record, I gotta blast them. I don't know. To me, that's a Play It Loud.
So this is Play It Loud Part 2.
Two. Yeah, I was gonna say.
All right. Come on, guys, settle down. I want to tell you guys a story. It's about a man who finds himself washed up on a desert island.
Okay, follow.
He's traveling across the seas in his yacht. There's a massive storm. He thinks it's the end. And then he wakes up in the blazing hot sun and he finds, miraculously, he is alive. But he's on this little speck of sand in the middle of nowhere.
Oh boy,
Oh no.
that would suck.
He's got no idea how much time he has left on this earth. Then, he doesn't know how long past. Could be hours, could be days. A shipping container washes up on these shores of this uncharted desert island.
Oh boy,
What are the chances?
full of records.
One record.
That would be amazing.
Full of records
He o-
and one
he-
And a record player.
and a
He
solar
opens the doors.
solar panel. You know.
He opens the doors, and there's some fresh water, there's some non-perishable food, and a gramophone.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there you go.
So cranked.
Damn.
That's how you get around the power situation.
So
Okay,
he's
okay.
thinking, okay, I might be okay here. I've got some clean drinking water. I've got some tins of beans. I got a gramophone, but there's no records in this shipping container. And he at least knows now he can stay alive until someone finds him.
Or at least gives him a record.
So the world has forgotten him. The world has moved on. He's stuck on this island. He's going to survive for a period of time, but there's no way of him getting off. So he sets about writing a message in the sand. Okay? Big old message. He uses a bit of driftwood or something. I don't know. I'm making this up as I go. He carves a message in the sand. A plane flies overhead. It looks down, and the pilot can see this message. I want you guys to guess what this. I will give you a clue. I want you to guess what this message said. It starts with an S, and it ends with an S.
Send records.
You've nailed it. Send records.
Yeah.
So for those points. That was like a choose your own adventure with crowd participation.
Love it. That was a good story.
Yeah, I was intrigued. I was in. You sucked me in.
Yeah.
It's like an audiobook.
So for those playing at home, we are talking about desert island records. If you were stuck on a desert island, you don't know when you're getting off.
With a gramophone.
With a gramophone.
Some
and
clean drinking water,
water,
some cans
and
of beans.
baked beans. What record are you
Unlimited supply of all those.
Unlimited supply.
What kind of
that.
beans, though?
Baked beans.
Well, yeah, but name brand. What kind of name brand beans?
Heinz maple syrup. Come on.
Heinz?
Maple syrup. Get out of here.
Oh, what? You want
you're
tomato?
Australian. You're
Yo,
Australian.
you want tomato beans?
What record are you asking for when the pilot sees your message? Send records.
Well, but ours is send record.
What?
Well, we each get to send one, right?
Because the idea of Desert Island Record is if you had one album
You gotta pick
to
one.
play over and over while you're on a desert island, which
For
one are
the
you
end of
picking?
time.
Okay.
Till the end of time.
All right.
Till the end of time.
Who's kicking
More
us
like
off?
till the end of your time.
Of your time. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, well, this will be good. We should do a poll on this one then. Who agrees with which album should be sent to this island? So we'll all pitch an album, and then
So I'm going to
let
nominate.
social media decide whose is the best one.
Yes, I'm going to nominate Tom. You kick us off. You never kick us off.
That's
There you
true.
go. Let's go.
Okay. All right, boys. I am picking, and there's a lot of reasons. Most of them musical. I'm picking Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Deja Vu.
Beautiful.
Comfortably in my opinion, the best offering from those guys as a group.
I agree.
Yep.
The
I
first
agree with
offering of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
Young. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Talking 1970s, we're talking, it's quite eclectic. It's got, it's obvious who the songwriters are for each track. They're quite different. It takes you in some different places. I feel like there's a song for all seasons on that album. And I feel like, depending on how your time on the island was going, you might choose a certain track. There's enough in there to keep you interested for the rest of your time.
I'm glad you glad you mentioned that. Yeah, that's important.
But otherwise, you're going to go crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And you're going to try and swim away or something. But if you've got that one record, you're going to be like, hey, man, I can stay here. I got beans, I got water, I got CSNY.
There you go.
And also because I feel like there's the David Crosby classic, Almost Cut My Hair. And I'm sort of picturing Tom Hanks in Castaway, but like spliced to that song.
Nice.
I thought you were going to say
a
Matt.
montage of him.
Of Hanks losing his mind to Almost Cut My Hair.
I'm picturing Matt in his room almost cutting his hair right now.
I mean, you know what? This album could be the soundtrack to Castaway.
It totally could.
Yeah, no kidding.
Helpless, Our House.
Oh, hey,
Deja Vu.
I never
Yeah.
I never put that together.
Almost Cut My Hair.
Yeah.
Almost got my
Yeah.
yeah. That's a
Woodstock.
great pick.
What? Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah.
Teach
Yeah.
your children. Teach Wilson.
Well,
Your child is a volleyball.
It's a
Yeah.
volleyball
Yeah.
with your blood print on it.
but
Man.
Tom, way to pick an album that's ridiculously hard to listen to right now.
What do you mean?
Well,
Oh,
it's
is
not
it
on Spotify.
What?
Right?
Oh,
It's on
Right.
Apple Music.
Wait, yeah. Oh, he didn't pull it off Apple. Way to pick it where I have to deep dive into YouTube. And I've been
Yeah, I didn't even
searching
I didn't
through
even
that.
think of that. I mean, to be fair, I've listened to this album so many times that I didn't need to. But also, why don't you have it on vinyl? It's, in my opinion, it's
this
an
is an
essential.
essential. It's an essential.
Yeah, this is an essential for sure.
Don't quote me on this. I'm pretty sure I do have it on vinyl, but half my stuff is in storage right now, so I couldn't dig through. And
Yeah.
I'm not as organized as Lozier with my Discogs account.
Yeah,
over here. All right.
Mr. Type A personality over
Yeah.
here.
So organized right now.
Yeah, Tom, this is a solid pick. Like, again, all killer, no filler. Great record. But I don't know if you guys did this. I listened to the remaster that they put out last year, and it's got bonus stuff, demos and stuff. And one song that stuck out to me on that version was So Begins the Task and Hold On Tight. Have you guys listened to that record?
No.
No.
That is an incredible song. I was listening to it. I was literally in the middle of the job and it came on. I almost had to like stop what I was doing because the song is that strong.
Oh.
It is so good. And the lyrics are so strong. And the melodies, everything in that song is just perfect. I don't know how it didn't make the record, to be honest with you. It's incredible.
So Matt would be the guy on the island. He gets this album and those aren't on there. He's done. He's
off.
He's swimming.
Over his knee.
How could you do this?
That
to
becomes
me?
a frisbee.
Just walks into the ocean. I'm out of here.
Okay,
They were the original supergroup, though, right? Like
They were, yeah.
Four incredible songwriters and musicians in their own right,
Yeah.
and then
and
they
4
just
incredible singers.
yeah, like they're
Masters of their craft.
absolutely.
I mean, I know they were copying the Beatles of being 4 incredible songwriters and 4 incredible singers and 4 incredible musicians, but
Isn't everyone?
I'm not that big into the Beatles. I'm not.
No, it's I think it also just because it reminds me of my cousin's wedding. I'm really close mates with 2 of my cousins, and when one of them got married, me and the other cousin, for some reason, just in the middle of the reception, just started doing like an a cappella of Almost Cut My Hair, where I was singing and he was doing like the guitar riff, and we did the whole song.
That's really cool.
That's really cool.
You have it on video?
Every time I hear that song, I just think of us doing that with him, like doing the air guitar.
Only something you can do at
Nice.
a wedding, by the way.
Wedding.
Yeah, totally.
Open bar. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm interested. You made it, Tom. You made a comment about you can really tell who writes every song on the album. Let's see if you can tell us who writes the songs. Okay.
Okay, go through the track list. I'm gonna fail miserably. at
Almost
this,
Cut
but
My Hair.
David Crosby,
Okay. Helpless.
Neil Young,
Our House.
Nash,
Wow. Great. Okay. Woodstock.
Crosby.
Joni Mitchell.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah.
That's
Still,
that's
three,
pretty
three
good.
out of four. 3 out of 4, not bad.
Trick question.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I was gonna
honestly,
say.
you nailed the other 2 were obvious.
Yeah.
You got
Yes.
Our House, which was really good. The last one was a trick question. That's why I posed it.
So you
look at you.
intentionally tripped me up.
I
Yeah.
intentionally
On
tried
this
to trip
public
you up,
forum.
and I knew
Yeah.
it would.
Walk into the ocean.
Thanks,
That's a
man.
great
I'm
song,
off.
though.
I'm off the island.
I love the song Woodstock on this album, and I actually didn't know it was written by Joni Mitchell until I obviously looked it up on Wikipedia here to try to stump you.
Yeah.
But also
They should also sponsor us.
Helpless to me is like, and I think you did such a great job picking this album for Desert Island record, because to me, if you're stuck on a desert island, that is a place where you feel so helpless,
Yeah.
and that you're going to need something to keep you going. And like this album here has a song called Helpless, which I think is one of Neil Young's greatest songs.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
every song on this kind of brings you through this journey to kind of help you deal with what you're dealing with. And as a desert island album, great pick. Because that could be interpreted in many different ways. How you pick this album, right?
Yeah, totally.
Does this
I picked it to get me through the
Yeah.
experience of being on the island.
I'm glad you also picked, because when I get to mine, I had a similar approach to it. Does this song Helpless appear on any other Neil Young albums, or is this where it comes from?
That's where it comes from.
This is like, it doesn't appear on any of his solo stuff.
I don't think it's on any of his actual.
I don't think so.
Okay,
I mean,
because
it's
like
Live, it's on his live stuff.
It's,
A
on,
live
it's on
album.
live at Massey. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, okay, maybe that's where I know it from. Because yeah, that's one of like his most, I would say, like iconic songs. You hear the song a lot.
Keep in mind too, though, like a lot of his biggest songs
Are with these guys.
because like live at Massey, right? It's 1971,
Okay.
and that album plays like a greatest hits album. But keep in mind,
Yes.
he's writing Harvest after that tour.
Tour. Oh,
right? And so a lot of those songs are from Buffalo Springfield, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. A lot of the solo stuff, or a lot of the band stuff that he did before he really did his solo stuff,
which is insane.
which is crazy. He's a very prolific songwriter.
Yeah. Totally.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm looking at this track list now that we're kind of going over like if that's on other albums. So this track I mentioned, So Begins the Task, actually ends up on another Stephen Stills record, Manassas.
Oh, okay. I'm going to have to give that a listen. I don't know that song at all.
It's a really good song.
Yeah. Okay. I'm in. Like,
Well, actually,
this album I felt. Like, you feel this album, like, comes in.
Yeah.
You feel this all the way through.
Yeah, I agree.
Even with the ads from YouTube cutting me in and out, I still was sucked in. God, I forgot. I would like to say I never had Spotify Premium for a very long time and finally gave in and bought it. And going back to YouTube with ads in between, it ruins albums.
It ruins an album.
Yeah, but this album it still kept me intrigued. I didn't give up, which I felt. I think that's a strong suit. So I was just picturing myself I didn't know it was a gramophone, but I pictured myself maybe with like an old Zune player on a beach, and every once in a while this person just ripped it off the internet and an ad would come randomly up.
Chris, I
think I'd kill myself then.
I can't wait for you to get your record collection out of storage so you can stop using that excuse, because it should have been a record player. Listen.
Yeah, sorry boys.
Yeah, it's ruined. We should stop recording.
They broke my record player actually, but that's a whole nother story.
Done with this podcast. How'd you break your record player?
They didn't.
The removalists?
So they staged our house, right? And he said, anything you don't want broken, put away. And I looked at him and was like, should I put the record player away? And he's like, no one will touch that. And when I came back, the belt off my because I have a belt player, the belt was completely taken off. Like the needle had been like pushed down on the thing. And I taped it down with 3 pieces of tape. So someone who came to see our house, to see our showing,
fiddled with it.
Fucked with it. Yeah.
Fuckers.
Right. And he told me, he's like, all my records are away in my chest. That's like pushed completely to the side. But yeah, so someone had like either brought a kid or whatever, opened it up, played it. So today I spent about 20 minutes getting it to work again.
Oh man,
the needle's not too bad. But I'll need a new cartridge.
No way.
Yeah. So
this is upsetting.
There's gonna be a murder.
It's an excuse. I'm moving houses, right?
Murder in Savannah.
Right. So I'll need some recommendations on a.
Nice, man.
Matt just bringing his own sound effects.
I'll need some recommendations on a new needle. New needle and cartridge there. So there we go.
Check out Matt's blog. He did a great
job. I know.
You're getting your first player.
Oh, I can't afford what Matt talks about.
Good plug. Good plug for the blog.
Yeah.
So my track to get people hooked on this album, and this is really interesting just since you said the Joni Mitchell piece, Dan, I've always sort of each of the tracks that sound so distinctly to the artist that wrote them, I don't know if you could use one of those tracks to get the person into the whole album, but Woodstock doesn't sound distinctly like one of their tunes, and now I know why. Is because it's written by Joni Mitchell. Obviously, the Crosby guitar is quite distinct,
for sure.
But Woodstock is the track that I would give to someone to get them hooked on this album.
Really,
great pick. That's a great pick for this.
I thought you were going Helpless.
Yeah, it's a bit of a downer. It's a beautiful song.
It is,
and it's Neil. Like
yes, it is Neil.
They would come into the album expecting it all to sound like Neil. That's why it's really hard to choose a song. So that's why I went with Woodstock.
We are stars, we are golden, we are calling, and we got to get ourselves back to the God.
But you know that's a cover, right? Like she also released that song around the same time.
Yeah.
Wait, Woodstock?
And they covered it on this album. So it wasn't a song written for CSNY.
Did they do it? Did they do it better?
Oh, who did it better? I haven't.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's more. It's a little bit more iconic with CSNY.
We are stardust. We are golden, and
Controversial.
I don't know.
I don't know if that's
Joni
controversial.
Joni Mitchell's banger. Just banger.
Oh, I thought that was going to be Bloodshed.
Oh,
What do you mean?
no.
What do you mean by banger?
She's
Banger's
amazing.
good.
Next
Banger
level.
equals good.
Yeah, next level. Sorry. Like, you can't touch her.
Unless you're in
Your
England
facial
and then it means
expressions
sausage.
were not like she's great. It was like
Oh, sorry. I was trying to be... No. Oh, man. I love Joni Mitchell.
Yeah.
banger, like boom.
Unless he was English and then he was saying Joni Mitchell is a sausage.
Okay.
Bab's going to be real
That's probably a
confused
good
during
time to
this
move
episode.
on. That's probably a good time to move on. Chris, you were telling us that you had a similar approach in terms of surviving a desert island experience. So you got your beans.
Yeah, I got my
Yes, mate, you
beans.
can have the maple ones if you want. You've got
No
your
name brand.
bottled
Ew.
water.
No name
got-
brand bottle of water too.
No name brand bottle of water. No
You've
name
got,
brand beans.
you've got your gramophone.
I got my...
Hey, we can mix it up. Maybe this island just has a spring and coconut trees.
Oh,
It sounds like a
Amazing.
pretty good
I'm in.
island. And then a gramophone washes up on shore. And then the plane flies over and you've written a message, send record. What are they sending you?
it's funny you said supergroup because I also picked it, which was deemed a supergroup. Oh,
That's interesting. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm going with Audioslave, self-titled.
Nice.
It's like in my head, the song is playing. The
Yes.
opening track already.
Well, you can't beat the opening track. Like,
No.
this was actually on my list of. This was on my list for a number of albums. Play It Loud.
this could have been Play It Loud as well.
It could have been.
Could have also
it
been
could,
iconic riff.
It could have been iconic
Oh,
riff.
yeah. Definitely could have.
But again, I went with Tom's approach. Okay, you're on this island alone. You need an album you can listen to when you want to get fired up to do something, when you literally want to kill yourself, and when you just need that little push to do anything. And I feel like this album hits all of those.
Like if
Right, like-
you listen to it right before you hop on the raft to
Yes.
like head back out into the ocean.
Coaches is playing, right?
That
Like
would be
you're
so good. Yeah.
you're like you're
be
hyping
so
up, you're
jacked
getting
up.
ready to pour, and then all of a sudden everything kicks in. You push off the island.
You're
right?
cranking the gramophone on your raft.
Yeah.
On the raft. You're like paddling and cranking.
At the right?
needle's
And then do you know what? You fail, so you come back and you're just like
And you listen to it again.
you're listening to like
right back on the
Shadow of
first
the
song.
Sun because you're just like in a bad spot.
I love that.
Or Like a Stone. And then do you know what? You're like, no,
Yeah.
what? I need to jump back on that bandwagon. So you like light my way and getaway car. And then it fails again, and it's just that last remaining light is just there. So
That's
like,
poetry.
So that's
It is-
okay. So that's very interesting. Like I'm not making these epiphanies until we start looking at the track lists.
yes.
But come on, this is
Same
like,
deal.
It's about like what
Yeah.
kind of, like you would want songs like this if you're by yourself living on a desert island.
And do you know what? I
Show me
discovered
how
this.
to live.
Live. Show me how to live. Yeah, like a stone. When you're just sitting there being kind of
Yeah.
useless, right? Like
Yeah.
explorer,
Bring him back alive.
live, right?
Explorer.
Explore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like when, because I always have a hard time, but I had a really hard time with this one. And in this, I said Audioslave from the get go, but I said the wrong album. I actually meant this album when
Yeah.
I
You
was
said
talking.
Out of
Yeah,
Exile
yeah.
first.
Out of Exile, right?
I'm glad you
but I
went
meant
with this.
But I meant this one because I always forget it's called self. I always have an issue with self-titled albums. I always forget they exist for some reason.
But I honestly thought you picked it because I thought it was like Chris loves Audioslave and you'd
Yeah.
want a band that he
Yeah.
really loves to listen to.
Yeah. But it's more than that.
It's more.
It's
Way
actually-
more than that. It's a
Yeah.
great
And-
pick.
It's
It
an
just-
onion.
It's like an ogre, you know. You
layers.
just the layers. But like,
Great pick, Chris.
No.
That's really great. I didn't
Yeah.
see it that way when I listened to this album.
right?
Also, if it didn't have those layers, it would just be a banger of an album.
I
to
know,
like
that would be- yeah.
see out the end
Yeah,
of your time.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It would be a great album.
Just be like,
to
well,
have
I'm
put
stuck
out.
on an island. Better listen to
You
Audioslave.
better play Coach
Yeah.
Ace again.
Right? Like, it needs to be listened to loud. I found myself like driving around the other day, and just all of our albums came on for this one. and I just like connected with it again and was like, man, I haven't given this a good listen to in a while, because it was one of those when it first came out, I killed it. I have a habit of doing that with music.
Overplayed.
And I was like, it still holds up. The themes in it work really well. It's well produced. It doesn't feel overproduced, like too overproduced.
It actually feels pretty natural.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel like they did too much to it.
Yeah.
You know,
like,
what's interesting on that point, Matt, is that like this album came out in a time where all rock and roll had just been thrown through such overproduction in the 80s and 90s. And then when Audioslave came out, it was just like such a fresh rock and roll sound, like because
Really raw.
and like even with Tom Morello joining the band, it was you have Rage Against the Machine, which was like very different to rock and roll, but then coming in and just giving us fresh rock and roll tones, which were new, which were different, but not overproduced, and really, really, really great to listen to.
Let's talk about how Rage Against the Machine could just go and create a new band with Chris Cornell that sounds entirely different to Rage Against the Machine, despite it being most of the members of Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
And create a band that is enormous and incredible.
okay.
Like, it's ridiculous.
I think you tip your hat off to Tom Morello on that one.
100%.
Yeah, and like it's classic Tom Morello. Like some of the solos you can interchange with any Rage song every once in a while.
Yeah. I mean, he's got his distinct sound. But as a band, they don't sound like Rage Against the Machine
at all.
No, not at all. This is a
they do
very
it,
distinct band.
And Cornell is like one of the best and most powerful instruments in that band.
Yes,
Yeah.
easily, and it works so well.
It does, yeah.
And this is why I always said, like I argued before, that Chris Cornell is one of my favorite singers of all time, and he takes this. And I made this argument before, and I'm a huge Rage Against the Machine fan. I was actually a massive Rage Against the Machine fan, and then Audioslave came out. The issue was then Audioslave or Rage Against the Machine got back together, and Audioslave just kind of fell apart. And it wasn't until like years later that I realized that I missed out. I never saw Audioslave live, and I never like you might like now I won't, but at the time I was like, oh, I maybe won't ever see them. But it was everyone was so excited for Rage back together that a band died that was like so unique and so powerful that I don't think anyone will ever come close to like that kind of sound or passion that these guys kind of had in that scene in that time.
Yeah, that's a great point, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good
Right.
point.
And it was something that took me years and years to kind of come to terms with, because I went to the reunion tour, the Rage reunion tour, and it wasn't until like 2 years after that I was like, I was so excited for Rage that I didn't realize one of my favorite bands of all time died at the same time.
Because of it. Yeah, wow.
Yeah. And then like never again.
Talk
It'll
about
be never again,
bittersweet.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It hurt.
Yeah,
Well,
that definitely hurts.
I'm real flat after that.
Sorry.
I was gonna say,
Sorry, boys.
going back to the production on this album, I know why it sounds very raw and natural. Rick Rubin produced this
I
record.
thought it was Rick Rubin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right.
I was gonna say, because it kind of reminded me, like, not that they sound similar, but it reminded me of listening to like Californication by the Chili Peppers a little bit, because that's
Slick.
also very slick, very raw, very natural. Not too much is going on. It like it's pretty much the band and their sound, and that's how I felt listening to this record.
The dude just made all the good albums. Like,
Yeah,
Wait, okay.
as he's known as the reducer.
Educate me on Rick Rubin.
So he has a very hands-off approach where he likes to capture artists in their natural element. He likes to capture them in a certain, like, almost like a certain mood or a vibe, so to speak. His way of producing is essentially, let's take the strong elements of the song and let's make them the best that they can. He's not one for using a lot of production tricks, a lot of engineering tricks. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he mixes a lot of records himself as well that he produces, or at least has a hands-on approach to it if he's not the one doing it himself. But yeah, he's a very, very, very minimalist when it comes to production. Like I remember listening to an interview with Kanye West, because he did Kanye West's Yeezus, and they said, "Oh, what was it like working with Rick?" And he's like, "Oh, Rick, the reducer," because he's known for taking like
from Kanye too, getting from who's like an ultimate
Yeah.
producer. In
Well,
hip-hop.
what's amazing?
He's known to be a minimalist approach.
What's amazing is his range. Like he started in hip hop.
Yep.
Hello, Cool J.
But he's produced so many iconic rock albums.
I'm
And
looking at
even
his
metal.
catalog
Johnny
right here.
Cash,
It's
too.
insane.
Even
He brought
metal,
Johnny
The
Cash
bands
back.
he's worked with.
Slayer, System of a Down, like even contemporary metal bands. Like
Yeah,
Dixie
he's done some
Chicks.
country.
his range
Yeah,
is
Dixie
insane.
Chicks is a big one.
Yeah,
Those
I
Johnny
didn't-
Cash American 4 albums,
Adele.
American albums. Sorry,
He's worked with Adele.
Yeah.
And was won
I
an
didn't know he
Oscar,
was with
or won a
Def
Grammy.
Jam.
he's al-
Yeah,
like,
he started Def Jam.
Co-founder.
he's also
Yeah.
been
Oh,
at the top
wow.
of his game for like 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the guy.
Wow.
He's the guy.
He's the guy.
Yeah, he is the guy.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
RR. Okay,
All right,
so
all right.
Chris, but what is the track?
well,
The track.
well, if I'm gonna get people to listen to this album,
No,
it's
wait. But sorry to interrupt, but you're on this desert island and you find out you're not the only person on this island. There are people who are living there who have never listened to any music before,
There's poor people.
right? Or they
Oh
have
my God.
they have music. Sorry, they don't
I
have
gonna
music
bl-
from a civilized.
They don't have Audioslave.
They don't have.
They don't have
Audioslave.
Audioslave. Well,
Yeah.
then do you know what? I'm gonna blow them away, and they're probably gonna hate it, but they'll learn to love it because it's gonna have to be Cochise. Like it has to be it has to be the first song. Like the way that that hit, like I'm just gonna be standing on the beach when it happens, and I'm gonna pretend the fireworks are going off in the background like the music video, and they're gonna look at me like I'm
go.
crazy, and it'll
And then
just
they're
be
gonna
like,
chase
"This is
you
it."
off the island.
Yeah,
It's
and
a
that's it.
perfect
Think you're the devil.
choice because it's everyone's introduction to Audioslave. Was that
Right?
song?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of unique. They put it side one, song one, and just kicked it off.
So
I
this
remember,
is who we are. Let her rip.
yeah, and it was like they're clearly Rage Against the Machine meets Temple of the Dog meets Chris Cornell's solo work.
Amazing.
This is it. Yeah.
Man, now I'm disappointed I didn't see them live.
So a quick search said they were supposed to get back together right before he died, and I didn't know that, and it actually just crushed me even more so.
That's fair.
But what a legacy Cornell left, man. Like,
Because I said I was supposed
Yeah,
to go
one of
see
the
him.
best.
I was supposed to go see him on the last concert that he was in Ontario, and I was too hungover. It didn't go, and it's one of the biggest regrets of my life.
Oh,
Have I not shared that story? I
man.
feel like I've shared that story.
No, you haven't.
What?
You haven't.
you just did though.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, there you go. Horrible.
That sucks. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's
Shit.
get. Do you know what? I want to pick me up. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna throw to the basement, Matt, and the castaway Matt with his Robinson Crusoe locks and beard right now.
Yeah, last episode you looked just like Slash.
Slash.
Now
Now-
now you
Now you look
the
like
guy
Tom
who
Hanks.
looked Tom Hanks in Castaway.
What
The
are you,
long, scraggly hair.
what are you asking for on your desert island?
So I'm going with Muse's Black Holes and Revelations. I love this record. This is, again, an all killer, no filler record. Start to finish. It takes you, as you say, Tom, it kind of takes you on a journey. The songs that are supposed to hit hard. Soft songs put you in a vibe. I just think this is to me, this is a perfect record.
Wow.
It hits all the highs, all the lows. It's fantastic.
I think I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. My hot take is that I'm not. I love listening to Muse. They're not my favorite band, but the way that this album is put together and the way it finishes is really, really strong.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a big album.
Knights of Sidonia just knocks it out of the park.
Oh, I love that
And
song.
That could be. I feel like that could be in the conversation for not the best, but one of the best guitar riffs of all time. At least in the top 100, maybe.
Yeah, I think that for sure. Yeah.
It's instantly recognizable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. And unfortunately, this, like, I don't know if you guys listened to the bonus track on this record, Glorious. Too bad that didn't make the official release, because that's a hell of a song too. I wanted to give it an honorable mention because it's definitely worth the listen. It's so good.
I didn't listen to that.
It's definitely worth checking out. Glorious by
I'll have
Muse.
to listen
It's
to it.
really good.
So when you ask for the record to be shipped to the island, you're asking for like the special edition version.
Actually, I don't know if they pressed an edition
Deluxe.
with that one on it.
He wants 2 editions. He wants one sealed and one he can play.
But he's gonna have to start a new collection on the island. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just gonna have this sandcastle built with shelves so we can put him in there.
Matt's a master maker. You know, he's getting on the island. He's cutting trees down. He's building himself a cabin. He's got himself a shelf. He's like, oh shit, I just found a gramophone. Perfect. I'll start on my record collection again.
There you go.
Within
Records.
a year, his record collection on the desert island would still be better than ours.
Oh, easily.
100%.
No.
And better taken care of than mine.
Oh, that's a gift.
That may be true.
Even on a desert island, his would be in better.
Every single sleeve will be filled with sand, and they're still better taken care of than yours, Chris.
I hear there's no bunnies on the island.
Oh, Chris, this is for you. So Rick Costi produced this record, and he produced the Rage records.
Oh, really? That's amazing.
Yep.
There you go.
So
Finding all these connections.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
for
is-
Muse's third album, Rick Costi produced that one as well, and he listened to their previous album and was like, I think I know exactly the sound these guys are going for. And then once they teamed up, that's when they really took off.
Interesting.
Oh wow.
Even though I would say that their second record is probably one of their best,
And
that's Origins of Symmetry. Sorry.
it's just a big album, a big sound. Like,
Yeah, it really is.
Do you know what?
From
This is
Take a Bow right out of the gate.
this is a masterstroke from you, Matt, because I think maybe you crank that gramophone hard enough, a passing ship is actually going to hear it and come rescue you.
Yeah,
Seriously.
Yeah.
could be.
It's,
Or a ship,
it's
is,
a
a
lot-
ship
it
is
is-
going to come with people thinking that there's a festival going on this island.
Yeah, it's just Matt and his
So-
gramophone.
It's just a super yacht.
so I-
Yeah. Is Muse playing here at this festival?
You know what? This is so weird. So have you guys seen the music video to Starlight?
Oh.
No.
They're playing the song on a cruise ship, on
really?
a big ship,
What
and
is
fireworks are
going
going
on?
off in the background.
Oh, yeah.
That's so weird.
This is like the Da Vinci Code or something.
Yeah, all these link fireworks, cruise ships. Yeah.
Actually, it just made me think of Firefest. I feel like the island we were on would be better than Firefest.
Oh, way better.
Oh, the
100%
Fry,
it would.
Fry Festival
Way-
or whatever it is.
way
Yeah.
better.
one of the biggest scams of all time.
Yeah.
Here's a piece of bread with a slapped slice of
I don't reckon they even had
processed cheese
tin
on it.
beans. I don't think
Yeah.
they even had tin beans.
They didn't.
No.
No. Not,
Just saying.
not even no name brand. Yeah.
Just saying. And that, yeah. All right.
But yeah, hell of a record. A lot again. Matt Bellamy is a hell of a guitar player. I love some of the solos he plays on this record. One that really sticks out to me is on the name is escaping me. Invincible. Love the solo on that because it kind of comes out of nowhere.
What do you think the song that you're luring the super yacht with?
Gotta go Knights of Sidonia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta go Knights.
I love the gallop
Yeah.
on that track.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for a gallop.
Oh, it's just so
That's
good.
That's a big song.
Yeah.
It's like a fantasy song. It's
that
almost like
song
it's like
itself
a prog
takes you on a
song.
journey. Yeah. That song, it builds, and then once it hits its peak momentum, and that guitar riff just
Yeah.
rips. Oh,
That was It was on one of the Guitar Hero games, wasn't it?
Guitar Hero
Yeah,
3.
yeah.
Yeah.
Rock solid.
My favorite song.
They really picked, like, they really nailed all of the songs they had on those games.
Oh my god.
They did, yeah.
Oh.
Except for when you got to Sweet Child of Mine. I was like, I don't
Next level. That was
I have to
because it was
beat
too
this
hard
song
for
to get to the
Dan.
next one.
That was on the second one.
I feel like those games introduced a whole new generation to Kansas as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, it did.
Definitely.
And
You
that's
know what
like
introduced me to Kansas was the
deep
movie
prog.
Old School.
Old school.
Yeah, old school for
Yeah.
sure.
You're my boy, Blue.
My boy, Blue. Yeah.
You're my boy.
Oh man, what a classic.
Okay.
But they were like prog. They were heavy prog Kansas. I don't think outside of those two tracks, I don't think they
Yeah.
would be that well known these days.
Now, Matt, I am gonna say it because I've said it before. I can't get into Muse.
Yeah.
I thought this album when it first started off, I was like, okay, I think I understand it, but then it lost me.
Whereabouts?
Where was I here?
Knights of Sidonia.
Take a Bow, Starlight, Supermassive Black Hole. I really liked, and then Soldier's Poem. I was gone. I was gone already.
So I would say, in my personal opinion, that's not one song I particularly gravitate towards on that record. Map of the Problematic, love that record. So good.
I think.
Yeah, it's too bad you got lost there because there's a lot of good stuff on that record, Chris.
Now,
but I think
I did try. I listened to it all the way through. I went through it,
Yeah.
but it just I don't know what it is. And
Do you like
again,
Knights of Sidonia?
Yeah, but that's because I have fond memories of staying up all night playing Guitar
Hero.
and like being with friends, right? That sort of thing. But like, there's something in Matt. I don't know what it is, and I can't connect. There's just something off, and it's a me thing, not anyone else. But I get why. Like it's kind of like the Killers thing we talked about last year. I get why
Okay.
this album was massive. I understand it.
Okay.
And it's kind of the same with Lozier and Guns N' Roses. I understand
Yeah.
the passion and the drive behind it, but I just can't connect.
But I'm also a little
fair.
bit. I'm also can kind of relate to Chris, right? Like, I think Muse is a phenomenal band.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not something I can put on all the time, and even like listening through some of the songs, I find it's a little too prog rock for me.
It is a lot.
okay.
It is.
which is interesting because I thought I liked prog rock, which I'm learning a lot about myself in this podcast, like country music. But anyway,
He's on a journey.
I'm on a journey, guys.
This is therapy.
Do you know what? I don't think I like the outcome. I don't think I'm liking this.
He's like, I thought I was this, but I'm actually this, and I hate it.
Yeah.
I'm having a midlife crisis
My whole
at
life.
35, yeah.
Yeah.
My whole life is a lie.
Right? Yeah, that's what it is. So, but Matt, thank you again because, thank you for forcing me to listen to this band yet again, and I think somewhere down the line,
Matt's
I
like
think-
in the Clockwork Orange. He's like strapped Chris to a chair,
yeah.
pinned his ears and his eyes open, and just
I think-
force feeding him Muse.
But I think one of these days, Matt is gonna show me one of these Muse albums, and it's gonna click, and I'm finally gonna go.
I know the one that will make it click for you.
Yeah, right. And
It's Origin of Symmetry.
Strap
Okay.
him in the chair.
chair, and you know what? And 2 years ago, I would have told you to go fuck yourself, and and I'm not listening to it. But now I understand it. Like I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try.
Way to be as honest as possible.
Chris, what I hope you've learned in this therapy session is that you're super stubborn
Yes,
Yeah.
and you put these roadblocks in front of you for new things. And it's like,
but I'm trying. Yes, but I feel like I'm trying, which is when I listened
set-
to this whole album, and I'm
it's set
accepting.
and setting.
And I'm accepting where I'm noticing where I'm falling off the train, or the track, which I think is important. So
but
Matt,
it's
keep
just-
trying
Okay.
It's just like,
because
it's
it
just
happened
like,
with the Beatles.
well, it's just like my pick two episodes ago, Day in the Life. You're like, I couldn't listen to this at all. I put it on during dinner and I really liked it.
Right? You're right.
And Muse,
What were you saying?
Muse
Set
is
and
like
setting?
that.
Yeah.
It's set and setting, right? Like Muse is like,
I'm gonna wait for this. Yeah.
you can't. I personally
Wait
like,
for the right
I
moment.
couldn't go for like a bike.
And
a
they're a
bike
band to listen
ride
to
and
loud.
Blast Muse.
No.
I couldn't really go on a long road trip and listen to Muse, but while you're sitting on the bed and you've got your good headphones on and you've got the best possible audio pumping in, you're like, oh damn, this is a good band. This is a good album.
Okay, I'm in. Do you know what I kind of want to do? I want to see them live. I want to go live,
They are a live band.
and I want because everyone who says they've
Dude.
seen them live,
Dan's
Say
saying
they-
no.
No, I'm
Are like-
agreeing. I'm agreeing.
Oh,
I would
One
love
of those like,
I would
oh yes.
like they are stadium,
Yes.
Yeah.
I would love to outdoor.
theatrical rock.
I want to go to Bonnaroo. I want to see them live.
There's a
with, like-
great like recorded live performance. I forget what it's called. but
Yeah.
it's like
Hullabaloo.
we could start with that. I'm in.
Watch that like full
Yeah.
production it was meant to be recorded live.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. They've actually got 2. They got Hullabaloo and they've got Harp.
I don't know which
Harp is like with I think when they were touring with this record.
Chris,
Okay.
I don't
just
know.
have
I don't know
one
which
question.
one I have, but I've also heard that like the best live band of all time is Muse. From
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
some
they
of
are
my
incredible
friends.
live.
Yeah, some of my
That's what
friends are
people keep
big
telling
live
me.
music guys, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've
Yeah.
sold that hot take. That's done.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Chris, I just have one question.
Yes.
How does it make you feel? That's what therapists ask.
Oh, what, this album?
That was a joke.
Oh, because nothing. That was the issue. I didn't feel anything.
His answer is actually
Empty.
perfect. It makes him feel empty. Yeah.
Yeah, empty. Like,
So
that's,
Chris does not want this album on the desert island because otherwise he's just walking into the sea.
Oh, he's-
Seaweed rope,
he's
boys.
You're finding Chris.
There's a palm tree, right?
He's
finding
conking
Chris,
himself
and
on
he
the head
has
with a
gone
coconut.
Crazy.
Well done! Well done!
I'm sorry.
Chris, who's Chris? Who's Chris? I'm not stubborn. You're stubborn.
I don't like
love
country.
everyone.
Maybe I do. I like prog. No, actually, I don't think I do.
Sorry,
I've learned
Matt.
a lot about myself on this island. I've learned a lot about myself.
Sorry, Matt. I hijacked your segment here. Sorry, bud.
It's all good,
Yeah.
man. No worries.
It's okay. He's working through it. He's in.
I feel like it always turns into that. Chris makes
Gross.
some comment. And,
Sorry, boys. All right, Matt. What's the song? You're convincing.
Nights.
picked it.
Absolutely.
Nights?
Nights inside the
nice.
Nights.
Okay.
Thank you,
Do you know what though?
Chris.
I'm on board.
Again,
If it was
Chris,
me on the island
I
with you
said
and
that
you're
like
like,
5
Nights?
minutes ago.
Oh, did you? Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm struggling tonight, boys. It's been a long day.
I get it. Don't worry.
Okay. Spinal Tap, boys.
This is not a rehash of last episode.
This is Spinal Tap. All right, boys. Let's do it. Let's get into it. Let's rip into each other.
All right.
Well,
Let's do the
Dan's pick.
Oh shit! Sorry, Dan.
That's how forgettable his last pick is.
Oh man,
my
that.
God.
Whoa. Sorry, Dan. I got so.
Shots fired.
Hey, you, let's fight. Them's fighting words.
I was just delirious with laughter from
That's
Chris's therapy
bullshit.
session.
It's
All
true
right.
because this.
All right, let's do Dan. Dan,
okay.
I feel like you have a different journey to the island. Like do you know what? You put yourself on the island.
I have a literal experience
I know.
living on an island.
I forgot about
I've-
that.
That's why I've said this. You actually put yourself on that island, but then when you got there, you realized you packed the gramophone, but not the record. So what are we sending you?
No, Ian Reed. Ian Reed's delivering the record.
Actually, Tom is the one who's
I'm not
actually.
bailing
Tom's the
you
one
out
who's
this
picking
time.
me up, yeah, and is bailing me out of this one. But
What do you got?
so my pick is Bon Iver's "For Emma Forever Ago," and the reason I picked that is because this album is actually part of an existential journey that I had in my early 20s that brought me to this actual real island that I lived on for 2 weeks. Just to give the listeners a quick story, I went on this sort of I had an existential crisis after watching the movie Into the Wild, which inspired me
Great
to
movie.
have this kind of
movie.
experience.
You were an impressionable young man.
Very impressionable. And before I had actually decided to go on this island, I had listened to this album, which was also part of this existential crisis I had. And it was those like that album and that movie are very important to my development as a person. And they were both inspirations for me to eventually get to this island. And part of the reason for that is because of the story of how Justin Vernon wrote this album, because he also had a similar experience. He had just gone through an illness. He had just broken up with his girlfriend, and he had broken up with his band. So he had decided to go and stay at his uncle's cabin in, I think, Wisconsin or something like that, where he's from.
So he was an
And-
island.
So he isolated
On his
himself, right?
self-island.
So he isolated himself while he was there. he had come up with all these great ideas on music and a new sound that he had been working on. So he went back and grabbed all of his recording equipment, and then came back to the cabin and recorded this beautiful album. And just for me, like the themes that are on this record, for me, if I'm sitting on an island by myself, one, I'm going to need to have an album that I love to listen to, that I can listen to and wear it out completely. But it's also going to need to take me out of this place where I'm like, I'm obviously sad, and I'm obviously, I'm worried about where I am, and I need something to pull me out of that mood. And the way that the album plays, where it starts with all of this dread and this self-destruction, but then with this epiphany at the end, that's why I would pick it as my desert album. So it ties into my actual literal staying on an island, and yeah, absolutely. I could listen to this album over and over and over again. I never get sick of it.
And thankfully, you didn't end up like Alexander Supertramp.
I almost did. That island flooded, and it almost ate me up. And if it wasn't for Ian Reid and Tom Kennedy, I could have died. So thank you for that.
You are welcome.
But while I was there, I had the same kind of epiphany that the songwriter has in this album, where it's like, just this, like, why am I even here? Like, while he was at the cabin, the epiphany was like,
because you put yourself there.
Why have I isolated myself? I shouldn't be doing that. I need to I need to grow from this experience instead of wallowing in that pity. This is a moment in your life where you can actually learn and become a better person. And that's what that was for me. And that's the epiphany he has in the last song of the album.
And then you wrote Skinny Love.
Oh.
I did not write Skinny Love. I wish I wrote that song. That's a great song.
Okay, so interesting, Dan, that you say that, because, okay, despite my jokes from earlier, this is in my like top 10 favorite albums of all time.
Oh wow, I thought you genuinely didn't like it.
No. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
me too.
You don't
This
like
is a big album.
This is my
incredible.
one of. I had not a similar situation, but the first time I was introduced to this album, I was going with my buddy Dylan. We were going to Ottawa to visit another friend of ours, Dan Gillhouse. Randomly, we just called him and we're on our way to Ottawa, and we jumped on a Greyhound, and it just dumped like 30 centimeters of snow. And if anyone's done that drive from Toronto to Ottawa,
Oh, God.
it is not.
Man,
and we just
that's scary.
And
It's
snows
scary.
like, it snows like crazy out there.
I've
there,
literally
right?
done that drive in that snow and ice, and it is terrifying.
Right, and now the only upside to us was we were on the Greyhound, so you can't see anything except the snow going past like the windows. And my buddy Dylan had this album, and I'd never heard it before. And he, in my MP3 player or whatever I was using at the time, died. And he's
Zune.
like, "Yo, Zune, no,
Share-
pre-Zune.
share headphones?
It was pre-Zune." So then he threw it in. I'm pretty sure he had like a Windows 7 phone or whatever it was, like something Winamp or something. And we threw it in there, and I remember just seeing the snow like going past the window and listening to this album, and it literally changed my life. Like I never heard anything like it. Now, Dan, I don't understand the coming out of it, which is what and maybe that's, again, it's my own kind of bias towards this album and what I was going through in my life when I listened to it a bunch, but I never, which is why I struggled with why you picked this for the Desert Island, because this is my self-pity album, I like to call it. If I'm in a bad mood, if I'm depressed, I put this album on, and it takes me to that deep dark place
To make
and I
yourself
love
feel
it.
worse.
Yeah, and I own it, and then I put something else on to bring me back up where I can't get back. So if I'm on that island, I need something to bring me out of it. This album doesn't do it. It just brings me down.
How do you not get the epiphany at the end? The last verse of the album is, "This is not the sound of a new man or a crispy realization. It's the sound of the unlocking and the lift away. Your love will be safe with me." He's realized that despite all of this heartbreak and all of this adversity that he's faced, what he's doing right now is it's him shedding all of that and becoming a new man.
This is deep.
He's unlocking all of this new wisdom that he's gathered, and that, you know what, that love that we had, It'll always be with me, but I'm ready to walk away from it. And the last part of the album is the sound of him getting up off of a chair and walking out of the cabin. You can hear that in the recording.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I thought that was a really cool way to end the record.
Yes.
It is like such a perfect, like, to me, that's what it is. It's him, and it comes and it has to come in the last verse of the whole album.
So, okay, I interpret it darker. So
Let's hear it. I'm really curious.
It's like I always pictured at the end of this album, it's death. It's over. It's like there's nothing else coming. Like, so I get what you're saying. I really like that interpretation, and maybe it was my own cynical, because when this album came out, I was in a very, very dark place in my life. So I never
Me too,
saw.
man. Me too. I was in like the most depressed stage of my entire life.
Me too.
Was
right?
when I heard
Like,
this album for the first time.
Yeah, like I'm gonna go with same with me, and then I love how you interpreted it as like a happy ending, moving on. I interpret it as like this is the end, and when he got up and walked away, that was like that was it. That was death. It was over, sort of thing. Which is why I was really shocked.
Interpret it as like you're killing that old self.
So I took it as literal, which I always struggle with, literally killing yourself, sort of thing. Which is why when he came out with the second album, I was like, oh, I thought like maybe he was killing himself as an artist or killing himself as like this Bon Iver or whatever it was. So I struggled listening to his second album, but this like, so interesting. I really enjoyed your perspective on this.
But
why you brought this, because I didn't get it.
To reinforce this, Chris,
Yeah.
if you think about Justin Vernon's path as a musician, he was always a failed musician before this point.
Yes.
And what he really started doing while he was at the cabin was, instead of trying to write so literally, like say like a John Prine does or a Neil Young does, he started writing more as like a poet, and really unlock this new way of writing music for himself. And that's why I get this epiphany, because I think of Justin Vernon in his literal sense, and I think of him as Bon Iver in this album, which is obviously it's a work of art, right? So there's a lot that's open to interpretation, but it's literally killing the Justin Vernon before Bon Iver, the musician he was before, this immature guy that he was with, this girl that he was so heartbroken about, this illness that had crippled him that he had just gotten out of. And on top of that, the death of winter. He had spent all of winter at this cabin. And by the time all of this was over, spring had come. Right? You can like,
I hear it. I see
the fountain in the front. There's a part about the frozen, something's frozen, and then he can see that as everything melts, the fountain in the front yard's rusted out. You know, like it was all down in the frozen ground. Like all of these epiphanies of like, okay, I'm ready to move on from this. The death of the old self, the rebirth of the new me.
I get it, and I love it, and I never saw it that way. And that's why when you had this on there, I was like, what, are you literally planning to go on this island and kill yourself? Because that's what I picture this album. But the way you're explaining it, I need to go back and I need to change my perspective. And I think that's important.
You're making really good progress in these sessions, Chris. I'm really proud
Jesus
of you.
Christ.
So happy for you.
I know. I'm not. Yeah.
Oh man, that's amazing. You can listen to it like in a new light.
Yeah. I think that's important. Like what Dan said earlier with Audioslave, he's like, I didn't see the connections you were making, which is why this concept is so cool in that sense.
Yeah, this was actually like a really great topic for an episode because it was open for interpretation.
Totally.
Right?
I thought I was being a little cheeky, but it turns out we're all
on the same page.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love it. Big fan of this topic, because I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't on board 100%. But I think it turned out great.
Again, these therapy sessions, man, they're really working for you.
Oh, thank God, because you can't afford therapy here.
The only other bit I wanted to flag about this album was just when lo-fi is done well. It is one of the purest, most soulful, emotional genres, formats, recording styles, whatever you want to call that. Like when it is done well, it is so powerful.
I couldn't agree more. I'm a so big on lo-fi recordings, and this is like a very expressively produced album. There's a lot going on in this.
Yeah,
And the
I'm glad
fact
you
that
said
he did-
that.
as the fact that he did it lo-fi, he did it himself, and then there obviously was some overdubbing done in post-production in a studio, but
Do you know, I'm so glad you said that. I listened to it in good headphones, in these headphones, for the first time ever.
you have to.
For the first time ever, I listened to it in headphones, and I heard like multiple additional layers that I had never actually processed before.
Yeah, but it's like that point that I brought up, right? Like I've obviously have overanalyzed this album. It is, I would say to me, like Chris, it's in your top 10. It's easily in my top 3. It could even
Wow.
like it could likely even be my top album.
Really? Yeah, I could see it. Like
That's big.
Overanalyzed.
I
to
think
the
top
point-
10.
Overanalyzed to the point where it's like, why did he put the recording of him getting up off that chair?
Yeah.
To the point where I was like, I've interpreted it as he's ready to get up, he's ready to walk away from this experience and become a new person. And like that's a lo-fi recording quality, right? Like hearing chairs creaking, people coughing, maybe like something happening in the room while they're recording, right? And he decided to keep that in there.
Powerful stuff.
That's my pick.
What's
All
the
right.
song?
What's the song? Yeah.
That's hard, but I got to go with Ray Stacks. It's got to be my favorite.
Yeah.
Like the epiphany in the song, the emotion that he portrays, and it's the most simple song. It's really just him and the guitar.
Your love will be safe with me.
It's so good.
It's simplicity done to perfection.
You can listen to this over and over again.
I don't know. Like for Emma, Fume?
To me, it's
The
really
way it
hard. Like,
starts-
this album, from start to finish, is super strong.
Yeah. But yeah.
if for some reason, if someone out there hasn't listened to this album, like it's worth, like I very rarely say this. This is one of those albums that it's worth sitting down and fully run a bath, put on some headphones, and whether you're in a
It's
good mood or
It's
bad
a
mood,
concept album.
yeah,
It is a concept
immerse
album.
you-
It has to be
immerse
listened to start to
yourself.
finish.
The
Yeah.
whole thing
Like-
is a story, and you have to listen
Oh.
to it from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Don't,
you know what?
maybe don't wear headphones in the bath though.
Well, why not? What you know, like wireless, non-wireless? Why not?
Well, if they drop in the if they drop first, they're not going to die if
A
they're going to
cheap
drop in
ones.
the water. But
Yeah.
you'll
Ruin your headphones. And you know what? You let them drive. Dropped a number. Never mind. That's
Do whatever you want.
do whatever you want.
Okay, therapy session's over, Chris.
Okay. All right. Now that we're done with the therapy, let's rip into each other. It's time for the hot take. Chris, what's on the
All
wheel?
right. On the wheel, we have best cover. How many albums to be iconic? Best debut album of all time. And just for Tom, how many snoring dogs does it take to make a podcast?
My money's on the last topic.
Yeah, I got a chuckle out of Matt and Tan.
Nice.
So there we go. All right, let's spin the wheel. And best cover of all time.
Okay.
All right.
Man, what a topic. We got
This is a tough one.
This has been keeping me
This is a
Surprise.
tough one.
I'd be surprised if two of us got the same one.
This has been
I-
keeping me up at night.
Yes, I had a last minute change about 3 hours ago because of a quick Google search that shocked me. So I will say that. So I'm
really?
not
I'm
going to start.
interested.
I don't want to start.
Okay.
But
I think we should
will-
start with Matt.
Yeah, let's hear it because Matt's been real quiet. He's getting tired.
Well, I'm going to
maybe.
start.
Okay, well,
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh.
let Dan start.
It's gonna be a U2 song.
I feel pretty.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
You think I'm going to pick a U2 song, Chris?
He stopped in his tracks. Excuse me?
You think I'm gonna pick a U2 song?
Yeah, a cover of a U2 song. What's the best U2
Do you want
song
me to
cover?
quit for the second time on this episode? Anyways, okay.
Shout out to you two.
No, not
Best
do
band of all
not
time.
shout out to U2, please.
I'm almost certain Bono's that one listener we've got in Ireland.
Wait, do we have a listener in Ireland?
I bet you it is Bono. His ears were burning. Did someone say my name?
Someone's talking about my
anyways.
sunglasses.
Guys, can we just stop doing
You're
a
just
U2
distracting
hot
him.
take stuff? You know I'm fired up again about U2. Now I'm fired
Okay,
up about best
okay.
cover of all
All
time.
right, what do you got? What do you
Okay,
got?
let's go. Let's go.
Criteria for best cover of all time. It's got to be a
Has
song.
to be a cover song.
It's got to be a song that it was not originally written by the artist, but
Yeah.
was also, in my opinion, needs to be a big song before this person takes it. But
Yeah, okay.
it almost has to be unrecognizable to who really wrote the song because people
That's
think
key.
the cover song is the best version or
Yes.
the original version.
Does it have to be better than the original?
I don't think it has to
Yes.
be better, but I think people have to at least think that the
Not know it's a cover.
that the bigger version, they don't know it's a cover. They think that the other version's a cover instead.
Oh, sorry. I agree with Dan.
Okay.
I agree. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So I may be going off a little bit on other direction, but I think you guys will agree with me that this is a big, big tune. I talked about her in a previous episode in the other season.
No.
Best singer of all time,
No.
Aretha Franklin. RESPECT.
Fuck off.
Greatest cover of all time. Original writer Otis Redding. Let's go.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T, find out what it means to me. R-E-S-P-E-C-T, take F-T-C-T. Sock it to me, sock it to me, sock it to me, Zittery say. Sock it to me, sock it to me, sock it to me. Woo, yeah, little bit, Zittery say.
Is it?
Wow.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Chris has had the same one. Again.
Literally.
No, you
No.
didn't.
Shut up. I literally.
Shut up.
I literally.
You
3
guys got to
hours ago-
stop comparing notes before we
This
record.
is. I swear to God, we did.
I was gonna
Fuck
say,
off.
like, did you guys
This is-
have your own meeting
Do
before
you guys
this?
text each other before
At
to check on
all. Not at all.
outfits as well?
Chris and I are on
This
the
is-
same wavelength, baby.
This is. I had. Okay, so I had a song in my head this whole time. And I was like, do you know what? I'm just gonna do a quick search about some cover songs that I want to check to make sure I'm on the right page. And this song popped up, and I was like, I had no fucking idea. I had no idea. This song is iconic. It's amazing.
It's so good.
I had no
next-
idea it was a
so good.
cover.
Next level,
Right?
It
I must-
jumped
yeah.
out of me instantly, and I felt like an idiot for not knowing it was a cover.
And so
that's what made me pick it. Every other song on every list I looked at, I knew was a cover, including the original song that I picked. This
Thank
one, I
you.
was like, "What an idiot! I can't believe this is a cover."
So I have an Otis Redding greatest hits record on vinyl.
Yeah.
And I heard Respect on it. I'm like, whoa.
So
Is this
so
a
wait,
cover?
Did you not know?
Is this a cover of Aretha Franklin? Wait, no. Because this would have had to have come before Aretha Franklin.
That's amazing.
And so I was like, as soon as I heard that song, I was like, holy shit. I can't believe that Respect is a cover. And so when this topic came up, it was like, okay, that's my pick. Like, it's got to be my pick. Like, there's not been another song out there that I had that same
That you
reaction
didn't
to,
know.
that I didn't
Yeah.
know. I mean, there are
So,
some songs.
okay, you
but
had a genuine.
but it was crazy. I
That's
couldn't
amazing.
couldn't
I love it.
believe
Yeah, that's
that
really
Respect
cool.
was a cover.
Yeah.
Did anyone else? Did you guys know that Respect was a cover?
I didn't know.
Had no idea.
Yeah.
Had no idea.
I literally.
All right, we don't
3 hours ago.
Okay, we don't even need to hear your guys' picks. Tom, outro, let's go. It clearly.
This is the worst. Everyone's gonna hate us.
Hey,
We're supposed to be
I make the
arguing.
orders here.
All right. Okay.
You guys have got to stop texting each other before.
Yeah,
we
I
do the
swear.
podcast
I swear to
recording.
God, we didn't do this. This is.
It's funny.
2 weeks in a row.
It's funny because
You're
Chris
like
and I riff
ridiculous.
so much on each other in the episodes, and then in the hot takes, we're always so
You're like
aligned.
comparing
We're
notes,
so
Yo, this-
aligned.
copying each
Yo,
other's
this is why.
homework.
This is why we're great roommates, Dan.
Absolutely.
Yo, fun everywhere else, and then there you go.
So okay, so these guys are on a desert island together. Whatever. Matt, what do you got?
I'm going all along the Watchtower. Obviously,
Big song.
Jimi Hendrix. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so
Originally
good.
by Bob Dylan.
I guess we're roomies because that's my pick as well.
No, really?
And here's the thing. That's also a song where I had no idea it was a Bob Dylan song until later on after I heard that.
Exactly.
Me
Most
too.
people
Okay.
don't know that.
So that's
Yeah.
a big pick. Yeah.
All along the watchtower, princess kept the view.
It's you.
So Matt,
Can I give an honorable mention?
Let's talk about All Along the Watchtower first.
Yeah, talk
Okay.
about that first. Yeah.
Well, Jimmy just makes that his own song.
Yep.
Like the guitar playing, everything. Like
Bob Dylan has also
Again,
said
it-
that.
It's unrecognizable
like,
from the original.
it really is.
is, yeah.
Yeah. It's incredible. It's just
And
it's its own entity.
and it's one of Jimmy's most iconic songs.
yeah.
It's one
Which
of the
is
most
so cool.
iconic songs of that era.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
And it's-
even Bob Dylan has said that's Jimmy's song. now.
It's Jimmy's song. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, like-
so
That's cool.
So do we want to have? Is this like a shared podium moment?
No. We have to hash this out.
I mean, I think
It's
it's very well known that All Along the Watchtower at this point is a cover.
yeah.
it
Nobody
is,
knew
but was
that
it?
Be less-
Respect was a cover
yeah.
here.
Yeah. But was it always that way? Like,
Well, no, I mean we all
Yeah, that's a
we
good
all
point.
had that epiphany, right? We all had this like, oh, whoa, I didn't know moment with
Yeah.
All Along
Yeah.
the Watchtower.
So we
That's true.
so we agree. We'll go with Jimmy.
No, we're going
Well,
with
so-
respect for sure.
is that because it's a more popular song? We looked into it more, or other people told us because it's more recognizable as in pop culture, right? So
Yeah, maybe. I
so
actually
it-
actually really don't like the Bob Dylan version.
see,
Oh, I disagree.
I'm not a huge Bob Dylan fan.
I prefer the Hendrix.
I
think
prefer the
because
Hendrix version. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oh, me
but
too.
but I think because I have the Hendrix version in my head, when I hear the Dylan version,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh,
I don't vibe it.
interesting. Okay.
Well, okay.
I would
I don't
almost
know.
say this is a
Split
50-50
decision.
split.
No.
Split decision.
No. All Along the Watchtower never made it to number 1. It made it to number 20.
Oh, okay. All
Okay.
right.
Impact made it to number 1.
number one.
Oh,
All right.
hell yeah, it did.
Bigger song.
Okay.
All right. There it is.
Greatest cover
Okay.
of all time.
Wait, what's the album sales?
That's boring.
I bet you.
Okay,
I
that's
bet you any money Aretha Franklin beat that.
Yeah.
Who's who's got honorable mentions? I'm allowing it.
I got
I
one.
have one, and I think it
Let's
might
have
be...
one each.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Chris.
Carvalho, you start. Started us off.
Matt.
I have a feeling we might be picking the same one. Rage Against the Machine, Maggie's Farm.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. That's one of
That's
my
a
favorite
cover.
Rage songs.
Yeah.
It is
That's
a cover,
of a Bob Dylan song.
Yeah.
Boy.
Is it Bob Dylan?
Yeah.
Yes, Bob Dylan.
We
No,
could do a
Bruce
whole thing
Springsteen's.
on just Bob Dylan covers.
Well, I
No,
mean,
the
Bob-
Bruce
Yeah.
Springsteen is Ghost of Tom Joad.
Sorry, Ghost of Tom Joad. That's an amazing cover as well.
Joe
Wait,
I
Cocker.
prefer the original of that.
Joe Cocker.
Really?
Yeah.
Help from
With
my
a little
friends
help from
at
my friends.
Woodstock.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to
yeah,
be your pick.
absolutely.
Dan. I thought that was going to be your pick because you're a Beatles guy.
Oh, man. Mine was Hurt.
That was mine too.
That was
Oh,
another.
yeah,
that was another one
100%.
on my list. Yeah.
That's why I was talking about.
That one's got to be up there.
And we were talking about Rick Rubin earlier,
yeah.
Yes.
right? And those American albums are incredible, and that's so different from the Nine Inch Nails, from the original.
So, like,
Yeah.
So
I had
different.
no idea.
And I think a lot of people would have had no idea that was a cover.
I had no idea.
100%.
Yeah, but those
100%.
albums that Johnny did before he died, I think they're called American, like
The
American
American series.
American series.
American.
All
Yeah.
sorts of covers. Like
They're
he
all
does
covers. Yeah.
he does a cover of
Rusty Cage.
Rusty Cage is
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Which is so good. How
So
good.
good.
Is Johnny Cash?
Johnny Cash.
Oh.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Hot take Johnny Cash. He's amazing. Okay, done.
Yeah, the hot take is he's good. Suck it.
Yeah, that was my. We had a group chat ages ago when this topic first kind of surfaced, and I was like, "Guys, we're all gonna pick the same one," and I had Hurt in my head
I
because
thought- I thought All Along the Watchtower was going to be everyone.
Well, I thought, see, but I'm kind of on Lozier's side here, where everyone knows it, right? It used to be that thing like. When you were a music nerd, you knew All Along the Watchtower was a cover, but then it became like popular. Like it just became kind of
It's actually
passe.
a Dylan.
Everyone,
It's actually a Dylan cover.
so, yeah, and then you sounded like that guy, and everyone's
We
like,
know Chris
"Oh,
hates
that,
everything popular
that
too.
douchebag at a party knows that everything everyone else knows, right?" But I don't. Yeah.
You were that douchebag, weren't you, Chris?
You know what though? You know what? Before
No, I didn't know that. I was too drunk to articulate anything.
you know, I got to make a comment about the hot take segment because so many times I go into this segment thinking, this is clearly like how could we possibly come up with a definitive answer here? And I really thought we were gonna have 4 different picks. And
Me too.
The fact that it was a split decision.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's
Crazy.
a weird that. It really plays into like the hot take to me always feels like, we can never really come up with an answer, but often.
We do, and it's
Like
hate
same wavelength.
Chumbawamba 3 to 1.
Paul
like,
McCartney.
Paul McCartney, like his
McCartney
best
songs.
songwriter.
Yeah.
We,
Yes,
and
I'm
then we
still-
did
I still
2
think you're
picks for
wrong about
Freddie Mercury,
Chumbawamba,
2
but
picks for Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
Right?
that's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on.
Man, these segments for the listeners are supposed to invoke anger.
It's supposed to.
It's-
Maybe we
And
just.
so far, it actually just makes harmony.
Maybe
No,
we
it's
This
just.
is the worst.
Yeah.
It's supposed to have divisiveness, right? And so like the
Yeah, have
hope,
a
the hope
debate.
now is that like there's obviously a debate here, right? Like
Yeah.
So we'll throw that out. I'm going to throw that out on
yeah.
Reddit.
So now it's like okay,
Yeah,
what does everyone think?
Once
And-
this
and
episode is live,
I'd
Yeah,
love
there you
to.
go.
I'd love to hear an argument for even a third option that we haven't even considered. Somebody be like, "Oh, did you know this was a cover?" And be like,
well, I
Yeah,
tell you,
Atari.
Oh yeah, of course.
I tell you what I would have done.
The Boys
If-
of Summer.
So there's like 2 different
That's a good one,
types of
too.
covers, right? There's the covers that are so unique and that they're so different, like the ones we've talked about, and then there's covers that are just copies, right? Just a
Yeah.
band saying we're going to cover this, and 2, one very good one that would come to mind would be Faith No More's cover of War Pigs. That's just a perfectly honest tribute to the original.
yeah.
Okay.
But
enough.
also in that you got to put the Johnny Cash songs in that same category, right? Where they're just honest tributes to the songs, and
In the Cash style.
we know that
Yeah.
they're covers.
Hurt is in a different category.
Yeah, I know that.
Or is it a
Yeah.
different category.
Just because it's so different to the 9 Inch Nails version.
I have a question for the group. What's your guilty pleasure cover song? Do you have one?
Oh, man.
I love 99 Red Balloons by Goldfinger.
Dude, I was just gonna
that's such a
fucking
good
say
song.
that.
Yeah.
That's a big cover
It's so-
too,
like-
actually.
Oh, so good.
I love that cover. It's so
It's
good.
not iconic in any it is iconic in it brought ska to the mainstream, but it's not an amazing cover, but it's so good. Anyone else think of any? Sorry to throw this out on
I
the
know
spot.
I know
that was my pick
I know
for
what
sure.
my wife Alina's pick would be. It would be me playing Harvest Moon Tour.
Oh, you, Alina. Oh,
Look at you.
look at you.
Well,
My
I feel
wife-
sick.
If I'm gonna say, Lee loves Chris Cornell's "Nothing Compares to You." That makes her cry.
Oh, really?
endlessly.
I gotta listen to that.
Oh, it is tear jerking.
Oh, that's heavy.
Yo, it's real heavy. If you haven't had a listen to that, that was also on my list. If you ask her favorite cover of all time, she'd probably throw that up there.
Hey, let's not forget that 99 Red Balloons is also featured in Euro Trip.
Great
Very
movie.
fun movie.
Great movie.
Was it the original or was it the cover?
The cover.
The cover was, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Vinnie Jones is also in that movie for anyone
Yeah.
interested.
It's a great
The guy's a legend.
And Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. Oh,
Yeah, he has one of the funnest cameos
Yeah.
ever.
that
seriously.
song.
Scotty doesn't know.
Still one of my favorite pop punk songs to play
I
on
love
guitar. Love it.
Okay. You guys got anything else?
I think I'm good. I
That
think,
wraps
that's
it
it.
up. Yeah.
I think
Another great
Aretha Franklin
episode.
takes the cake, right?
Yeah.
Respect that.
Respect that.
Respect that.
Get on your doohickey machine that you're listening to us on. Make sure you like and subscribe. Send us your favorite cover of all time. Get out there and listen to Muse, Black Holes and Revelations, Bon Iver, Forever Ago, Audioslave self-titled, Crosby, Stills, Nash Young, Deja Vu. That's it for this month. Until next time, keep digging and spinning.
Take control!
The Groovy Guys are Tom Kennedy, Dan Lozier, Chris Palumbo, and Matt Carvalho. With your host, Tom Kennedy. Music by Dan Lozier, post-production by Matt, and album art by Chris.